Hi, everybody. I'm back again. And depending on where you are, I'm in Canada. So today is Family Day. As a result, you might actually hear small children outside because Family Day. That's neither here nor there. Sometimes you'll hear that anyway, just because I'm in a neighborhood with small children. And they aren't really, yeah, they're small. Anyway, um, welcome back. Now, if you've noticed the title of my channel, it says chapter 11. Well, and you would be like, well, but what about Thursday? On Thursday, you had a chapter 9. What happened to chapter 10? That is a good question. Many people would ask that question. I don't have the answer for you. All I know is that probably my next best opinion is to read the entire story from chapter 1 to chapter 39, even though there is not a chapter there's not a chapter 21 to 38, but there is a chapter 39. So anyway, I'm going to read through those and fill it in after the fact. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Um I told you. But wait, as if that doesn't get crazier, I have to kind of break my rule. Um I usually have a rule of not reading ahead because I want to have live reactions and everything like that. Um, but I kind of need to do a little bit of reading ahead for the next few chapters because I have chapter A and chapter B. Like for chapter 12, 13, 14, 15, and I think even further beyond that, there's like one chapter over another chapter. Um, unless it doesn't make sense, I kind of want to I kind of want to go with the longer version because I feel I'll be more fleshed out. That's not necessarily the case. I have a feeling that there's a massive departure. So I may have to read the whole entire chapter, like all the chapters for the week first before before reading them to you guys so that I'm telling an actually coherent story. I don't want to do that because I want to be able to like do the live edits. However, either that or else I just read both versions of the same chapter and go from there. But I feel like that'll make things very disjointed for you guys and not necessarily really good listening experience. Not that what you're hearing already is a great listening experience, but just more of a story and less broken up. So kind of unfortunate that way, but I think in the long run, probably better all around. If people are interested in the chapters I don't read, because I'll mark out like I'm gonna read them all. Uh, Pretty much, I have to read them tonight, basically, I guess, and figure out which ones are which. Like I'm not gonna do like a heavy read. I'm just gonna quickly skim through them to kind of get an idea of each chapter. So I'll still be because when I read with you guys, I actually am kind of reading, not just skimming over. These I'm going to be skimming over, kind of getting an idea and the feel of each of the chapters. So a little bit different. And that will, I'll go from there. Anyway, so without further ado, this is a lighter chapter tonight. So I don't feel so bad about having this heavy front end bit. Um, if you have any thoughts and opinions, feel free to pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I am going to start reading the Trollhunters. I realize I also just sort of launched right in without introducing myself. My name is Beth Wagner, and I am currently reading my father's book. That's what I've been rambling about for the past 5 minutes now. This one's called The Trollhunters, and I'm also doing live edits while I am reading it. So Um, just pretend I said that first. Alrighty, but without further ado, I'm going to hop into it now. So, Trollhunters, Chapter 11. It was late in the evening, nearing the time when the villagers would retire to their homes. Actually, I'm going to also back up a little bit because there's going to be a bit of a gap. So, on Chapter 9, we left off with the troll hunters being told that about a village of trollkin. Now, trollkin are people have who start sacrificing their own villagers in order to try to appease the troll that's tormenting them. So they kind of get in this horrible relationship, and they're called trollkin. That is chapter 9. That is the end of chapter 9. So here's chapter 11. It was late in the evening, nearing the time when the villagers would retire to their homes and latch their doors. Suddenly there was a flash of light and a sound of cracking stone where the pillar stood in honor of the Great One. With fear in their hearts, the villagers approached. There was the sound of music played on the strings, a calming music, and something shone from the direction of the pillar. As they arrived, they saw a strange sight. Standing on the broken off stump of the pillar was a red haired woman wearing a gleaming gown of green. The music continued, though there was no sign of any musician. Even the strongest of the leaders of the worship of the Great One recognized this was something beyond their knowledge and feared to come too near this vision. Then the woman spoke. Woe to you, people of this village, for you have worshipped a thing of evil and have offered sacrifices to it, even sacrificing your own people. Even when it was slain, you did not cease to reverence to it, for you set up a stone to remind you of its terrible reign, when it would take from among you whomever it wished, and you slew animals and even people for it, in hopes that it might leave you alone. This shall cease now. From this time forth you shall till your fields, tend your flocks and herds, and when you sacrifice, it shall be to Reyes. And you shall sacrifice no living thing to me, but in the spring you shall give me a short measure of grain, and in the fall you shall give 2 measures. At other seasons you will pick wild flowers for the altar, and in seasons when no wild flowers are available, you shall make your prayers with promises, and in the proper season you shall redeem your promises with wild flowers. You shall not use this altar, nor the stones on it, for they are polluted with evil, but you shall set up a new altar in this place. She paused for a moment while the music continued. If it ever happens that a troll comes among you, you shall not worship it, but you shall send for people to help you in the slaying of it. Remember this well, for should have to come among you again. It will not be in peace, but with vengeance and a sword. Suddenly she was standing there in glowing armor, holding a sword aloft. The sword swung down toward the altar in front of her, and there was a flash of light. The sword was raised again. A moment later, the armor and the sword were gone. The hand was raised in benediction. Remain well, people of this village. Suddenly she was gone, and the villagers blinked as the glow had surrounded her vanished, leaving them in relative darkness. The music, rather than ceasing, faded gradually. Some of the villagers advanced and found that the top of the altar was seared and cracked. Fearfully, they began to discuss the meaning of this vision. Okay, that was the scene. Like I said, I think chapter 10 has a lot of action and adventure, and it's where all the cool stuff happens. That's been removed carefully. Possibly because it's also a hard. It would be a hard chapter to write. I think for him. That's just my opinion. Um, yeah, and here we go. Continuing on. Derishua stepped back into the light of the small campfire. Varian and Artran were sitting back, breathing deeply and sagging a little with the weariness from the magic they had worked. Beckel, with his pipes in his hand, watching as she approached. Varian spoke. Well, we kept up the invisibility until you'd gotten well within the forest so they won't have seen you. And to tell the truth, they're so used to attributing supernatural causes to everything that I think they'll believe they've seen a real vision, and I hope it works. So do I. She'd done the part that might have been dangerous if the magic had failed, but he and Artran had done the real work, straining himself to perform the various magics that had to go into the that had to go into the illusion. Carnutran was looking at her like an older brother who was a little worried because his younger sister just did something that might have been dangerous. He can't quite believe that she's gotten through it unharmed. He'd been one of the ones who argued against it, or at least wanted to send somebody else to be the focus for the illusions. She had put that notion down, saying that it was her idea and she wasn't going to sit here in the camp while someone else did the dangerous part. She walked over and put a hand on his arm. It's all done, Carnutran, and I'm all right. He forced a smile and said, Yes, you are, but don't do that kind of thing too often. An old man like me can't take it. Old man, she snorted. You're still quicker than I am. He relaxed a bit. Ah, but you should have seen me in my younger days. They both chuckled. Carnutran and Derishua fell into alliance with the larger band, and Varian wasn't surprised. Neither did he waste any breath trying to convince them to leave. Carnutran was an expert swordsman, and Darishua was at least as good as anyone her age might expect it to be. Then there was the matter of the omen connecting her and Artran. He'd heard stories about people who attempted to thwart such omens, and the results were never good. Omen? Omen? What? Omen? Okay. Like I said, chapter 10, so much stuff. Okay. Fortunately, Artran had gotten over his initial surprise at seeing her, and had gone back to his work without paying her too close attention. Varian had known from the first sight of her in the scrying bowl long ago that she had had a bad experience with men and would not react well to anyone forcing his presence on her. And Artran was content to believe that the connection between them meant that they should belong to the same party of meant only that they should belong to the same party of troll hunters. Besides that, Artran had other things on his mind, such as the Holy Band. 3 days after their first meeting, they were following another rumor of a troll. Carnutran was riding alongside Varian. Suddenly a dark shape appeared, following along beside them, off the trail in the brush. At Thug and Racist, Carnutran pointed. What is that thing? Varian glanced over. Ah, that's the statue of Gothras. The statue of Gothras? I thought that was only a story. It's no story, and it's real enough. Be wary of it. It's walking along beside us, almost as though it was following our path. Varian sighed. Quite likely it is. Carnutran did not miss the sigh. And why would it be following along with us? Varian sighed again. You'll recall that our young Artran was a slave to the Holy Band and had escaped? When we were going to help with his escape, it occurred to me that we might well need some extra assistance. So I attracted the statue to accompany us and view our enemies as its own. Since then, it's been trailing along with us off and on. It doesn't like towns, for instance, but I haven't figured out all the things that it might. Oh boy, I haven't figured out all the things that might make it leave us alone. And you know that thing is dangerous. Why don't you use some spell or other to send it away? The sorcerer shrugged. I've been working at that, but there's always a problem. If someone wants it to go away, might that not mean that they are its enemies? I have very little idea of just how it thinks, but I do know the thing is very difficult to kill if it should decide it doesn't like us. With any luck, it might wander off all on its own. But you can't depend on that? Varian said, no, unfortunately, I can't. And that's why I'm trying to work out how to send it away peacefully. In the meantime, it's very unlikely to do anything unless we actually threaten it. Now, excuse me, I have to get my apprentice to work. It was not simply an excuse to avoid talking about a subject that embarrassed him. Artran would need all the advantages he could muster if the Holy Band continued to seek him. Artran was working with some minor illusions when Varian caught up with him. Small dragons, bushes with improbably yellow striped red fruit, a wheel of swords, and the like. He was doing very well, Varian mused. For a young man forced into learning magic at a greater pace than usual, the illusions are good enough. We need to work on other things as well. You recall the impervious shield? Call it up now. Remember, you have to keep moving as you do so. Artran grasped his willow wand firmly, and the air around him suddenly began to shimmer. Varian cast the magical blow spell and struck several times at Artran. Varian cast a magical blow spell and struck several times at Artran. The shield turned the blows aside. Varian suddenly shifted the magical blow into a fireball, which hit the shield and spread out, fading away. There was a shimmer in the shield, and Varian struck with the magical blow again. Artran swayed in his saddle, and Varian cast another spell that dropped a small ball of ice cold water on the apprentice's head. The impervious shield, he said, in the most annoyingly didactic, lecturing tone, is only good so long as you can maintain it. If you let any little thing distract your concentration while you're using the spell in serious circumstances, you can think yourself lucky if the only thing you suffer is a bit of cold water. He had found that, on occasion, making the apprentice a little angry was a good way to bring the lesson home. Not so angry that he lashed out immediately, but perhaps angry enough determined to that he was determined to demonstrate something to his master. Sorry, angry enough that he would be determined to demonstrate something to his master. Now, he said, dry yourself off and we will begin working again. Kellis Doch rode past, heading toward the rear. I just want to have a look at our back trail. Nothing special, just a feeling. He nodded. Beckel is taking the point? Yes, good. He turned to Artran. Are you ready? Our friend was struggling with the process of switching from fireball to light javelin, finally getting it right when the archer came galloping back. Some of your good friends of last winter, Artran, 6 of them, coming up fast. Varian's band moved quickly into the defensive formation. Nobody's trying to circle around us? Callisto shook her head. No, they're just coming in straight for us. They're still depending on their reputation to do a lot of the work for them. Well, let's see. Dirishua spoke quietly to Carnutron. Only 6 of them against 7 of us? That's pretty well even odds. Why is everyone taking it so seriously? It's a slot called the Holy Band. They're no ordinary warriors. Pretty much all they do is train to fight. You don't take that lightly. Okay, so like I said, it's a really, really, really short chapter. Um, I'm gonna have to do some reading tonight, and yeah, like I said, I think everything happened in chapter 10, and it's not there. This is one of the dangers of like not pre-reading the book before I do the editing, but at the same time, I want to do the editing here on the channel, which is part of the point. The only other thing is that so I only have all these pages to read tonight to try and get an idea. Like I said, not really reading, just quickly skimming to kind of get an idea of the story. See what I can which ones will work better. The only reason why I say that is because there's one chapter, and it's not because I was reading ahead, it's just because I saw them. For chapter 13, for example, one version has basically 3 pages, and the other one has so it's, and when I was quickly looking at it, the first paragraph doesn't say the same thing. So I'm not sure if, and the problem is I'd normally just go through each and go pick and choose as I go, except for if all of them are supposed to line up for one story, and then there's that might be happening. So I have to kind of read everything ahead to kind of get an idea of which version I'm taking. But you got chapter 11, and I'm going to double check and make sure there wasn't a chapter 11A, because there might have been. I wasn't looking for it earlier. So that'll be my other goal for tonight, is see if there's an extra chapter 11 hanging out somewhere. If there is, I will read it tomorrow night before I go on to read the chapter 12 that I've chosen, just so you can kind of get a feel of the 2 of them. I'm pretty sure there's not. I think it's just the one. I'm pretty sure it doesn't start until chapter 12, but I'll double check and make sure, because I don't want to be a liar. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank all my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys, popping in, listening, throwing it in wherever you can. It really means a lot to me. I just really like sitting down here. I'd be telling a story even if it was just myself, which sometimes it really does feel like it's just myself, which is fine, because I still get something out of reading it out loud. It's just better when I have somebody to read it to. So, without further ado, I'm going to sign off for tonight, and I'm going to talk to you guys all again tomorrow. So, take care, and I'll see you then. Okay, bye.